Take a look at how these two teams line up coming into tonight's championship clash between the Jayhawks and the Cougars. First up for the 7-seed Kansas again. Our own standout individual who's going to go the full 90 down there. No substitutions for you, Michelle Montaigne. Let's check in again. Michelle, who has the great story that's developed here late in the year between the pipes.
Yeah, and that would be Chelsea Peterson. And to understand just how impressive she's been, we have to rewind to July. Guys, she had not played soccer in over 2 years. And on the Monday that fall camp began, Coach Jennifer Rockwood gave her a call when she found out that her starting keeper wasn't going to be with the team. By Tuesday, Chelsea was on the squad. Her first game action came in the regular season finale, and then her first start came in the conference tournament opener against number 1 seed TCU. Guys, of course, naturally, that game goes to PKs. Peterson gets the save in PKs, and she told me she got on the bus with the biggest smile and yelled, "Inevitable." Now, we know her first clean sheet came last game, but she told me today they know there is still more work to do.
Yeah, they had all the confidence in the world for the talented keeper out of Orem, Utah. And, of course, this is overlooking the fact that the woman she replaced late in the season, Peyton Collins, she herself had already stepped away from the game when she was over at Utah Valley, was just a student before BYU last year had learned that she had transferred into the program, ultimately would lose her against Utah in the season finale. That's when Peterson plugged right in and, again, showed her worth in that shootout earlier here in the conference tournament. So, of course, BYU, no stranger to postseason success, even though their last stop in the West Coast Conference did not have a postseason tournament. They always found a way to hit their stride in the NCAA dance, as they would make it to the College Cup twice in the past 4 years, 2021 and 2023, including a national runner-up finish. 7 versus 8 seed. Again, the Big 12 this year trimmed the field down to 8. These were the last 2 teams to qualify for a chance to get into the tournament. But both of them already, because of their resumes, feeling pretty confident they will hear their name called on Monday by the committee. Early opportunity. Wines will send one in. And that's the ideal test for a goalkeeper, to get an early touch, but stress-free.
It's always nice when your defense is handling business properly to make those receptions there for your goalkeepers nice and easy. As you can see, BYU here starting to move forward, bring Kansas a little bit of their own medicine.
Foul on Kansas, but playing advantage here, BYU. Can they test Sophie Daw? Last year's most outstanding defensive player gets her own early touch in the first couple of minutes now. Daw, the redshirt sophomore out of Memphis, truly a pro prospect, will have a chance to play at the next level. Now her second year in goal for the Jayhawks, who have not lost a Big 12 tournament these past 2 years under their second-year head coach, Nate Lee, who's replaced the legendary Mark Francis, who was at the helm of the Jayhawks for a quarter century in Lawrence.
Coach Lee has done such a great job of not only coaching who he has, but putting the right players in the right places. Yes, it's nice when you have a really strong Sophie Daw there in goal, 70% save percentage, but he's just put a lot of these players right spots. When you look at the 2024 stats, there's a lot of these players who didn't have as many goals, and then 2023, and then when you get to 24 and 25 under Lee's presence, then you start seeing major goals happening there. Lexi Watts, 10 goals, 4 assists. So, proof is in the pudding there for Coach Lee.
Look over the shoulder of Presley Freeman, second team All Big 12. As this will make its way out for another throw for the Cougars. In BYU was picked third in the preseason poll for the Big 12. Izzy Stratton able to step up. But a foul here for the Jayhawks. And an early opportunity with a set piece for the 7-seed Kansas.
Izzy Stratton has been one of those players who has just been absolutely impeccable here for BYU, and that's a really good stop there. Not too sure what that call is about, but either way, Kansas, they're going to get the go-ahead here.
Probably going to get her for that left arm extended after that ball started to get away. This is Caroline Castens on that Herman Trophy midseason watch list for the top player in the nation. She'll lob one in, well defended by BYU off the top of the 18. Able to clear it back to midfield for Kansas. Again, Jayhawks took care of business against one of the more decorated programs in the Big 12, West Virginia, in the opening round, while BYU took down TCU, adding another nationally ranked victory to their resume. Reason why Jennifer Rockwood understandably feels pretty good that they are going to have their name called regardless of how tonight plays out. They were the runner-up in the Big 12 championship a couple years ago. Both these teams not content with already knowing they are in the NCAA tournament field based on their regular season performances, looking for that automatic bid out of the conference here tonight.
We spoke to Coach Rockwood right before this, and she had mentioned how she felt some relief, actually feeling like the underdog for once.
Emily Tobin, service at the top of the 18, couple of Cougars there. Keep this one out of their own penalty area.
And just going back to that underdog statement there, I'll hold my thoughts.
Lopez, the talented freshman, just can't find her teammate Walbruch. Found braces in her last two Big 12 tournament matches now this week.
Going back to my initial thought, Coach Rockwood from BYU had mentioned that she was kind of liking actually being the underdog here going into this. They have received everyone's absolute best this entire season, which is why she thinks they ended up there in the lower seed. But, you know, when you look at these two teams playing out here today, you know these are the teams that were meant to be in the top spot.
Cougars looking to strike first. Ball at the feet of Walbruch. A subtle touch centrally. Jayhawks able to get to it. Last year was really the transition year for a young BYU team. A player of the caliber of Walbruch back from her service, rejoining her teammates this year. And this will stay with the Cougars. And Jen Rockwood, of course, a 1989 product of BYU, 31 years at the helm of this BYU program, synonymous with all of their great success. Cougars put up 4 against that stingy defense of Baylor the other night, denying Baylor a chance to play for the title here in front of the home crowd. Instead, fantastic turnout from the folks here to scream Rochuk Jayhawk and cheer on the Cougars of BYU as well. BYU did play here earlier in the year. Walbruch draws the attention, got around 2 defenders, but a third was there to meet her in Livy Moore, the former captain for the Oregon Ducks, plugging right into this starting lineup this year for the Jayhawks. Able to hold off Walbruch for now. Freeman, the sophomore out of Georgia. Kansas struggling with the clearance. What does Freeman have in mind? Ball on her left foot, trying to sit it into the penalty spot. Well done by Kansas, but it will be a corner kick. First quality chance for the Cougars here with a corner kick pending in the Big 12 championship.
We've seen Kansas make teams pay for those types of turnovers there in the box. Not something you can do, especially with the likes of Sage Wines and Lexi Watts just hanging nearby.
See Cassins at the near post. It's Lopez who will keep it low. Still not out of harm's way. 7 minutes gone here in the opening half. And it's going to be another corner for BYU. We mentioned Colorado, the top scoring team in the Big 12. These are numbers 2 and numbers 3. Reason to believe we will see some crooked numbers on the board before the end of the night. 45 goals this year for Kansas, 40 for BYU. Top of the box, misplayed, able to recover. Sent it into the mixer, but Kansas gets it out cleanly. Felstad trying to track it down for the Jayhawks. And she'll get support there from Tobin.
Effort is good, but starting to release the ball a little bit earlier than they need to. Both teams really trying to play with a ton of pace. They know that that is going to be the key to victory here, but we had mentioned two really complementary styles. You see BYU wasting no time to go down the middle, running that 4-4-2 diamond shape there in the middle, but then it's here Kansas. So good when it comes to the quick transition and counter with that 3-5-2 system. Really good at getting up into the wings, so we're seeing a lot of back and forth transitional play, and a big part of that is just these complementary styles.
Freeman. Again, they'll look to build up the left side, a lot of space to work with. Jayhawks will throw numbers. Freeman with an extra touch. Kessler with a chance. Already some highlights earlier this week in Fort Worth. And Kansas right now just trying to weather this storm as BYU continues to linger on this end. And Kansas finally with a chance to correct course.
Going into this match, Coach Rockwood had talked about forcing Kansas to run a little more than they're used to. They're a team that loves to possess, really diligent in choosing when they go forward and when they possess, so they can be really tricky in that way. But really, you have to be the team that dictates the game if you're going to beat this Kansas team. Incredible talent across the board, but really it's winning those 50-50s, dominating play. That's what you're seeing here from BYU.
10th minute underway here in Waco. And these two teams did meet earlier this year. It was Kansas prevailing 3-1 at BYU, who does not give up 3 goals in the first half very often, but they did to this Jayhawks offense. It was a dream start for Kansas. BYU still leading the all-time series. And it's not a given you're going to face a team in the conference tournament that you've already seen this year, now that the Big 12 boasts 16 programs.
It's a lesson that you don't forget when you have 3 goals put up against you in the first 15-20 minutes of play. It's a tough one to come back from, so you know they're not wasting any time being the aggressor. When you look at that second half of the BYU and Kansas matchup, that's exactly the way that BYU came out, and it was quite difficult there for Kansas to hang around and hang on. BYU able to return a goal, but here definitely a different matchup. We're going to get a full 90 of back and forth play.
Walbruch's pulled back into the midfield trying to win this ball back. It's Grigorski, who had a goal at BYU, the sophomore out of Connecticut. Wimes waiting for some numbers to join her. Last year, second time Kansas prevailed in the Big 12 championship final. Service sent in. And an early test for Chelsea Peterson, who again was forced into action in the season finale mid-match for injured teammate Peyton Collins, who went down to the ACL injury. So again, the way you draw this up in Hollywood is Peterson, who had played at Utah before stepping away for mission service for a couple of years that kept her away from the game, enrolled in BYU as a student. Coaches found out after they learned that their planned starting goalkeeper was going to retire after getting married. Ultimately, they needed a backup at the time, and that proved to be Peterson, who now has been elevated into a much-needed starter here in the postseason.
Really, truly in a Hollywood story, and doing so well. I mean, it's difficult when you have a keeper who's really riding the bench and then, you know, needs that experience in big moments to show up, and she didn't have a ton of that. She just walked right into it, and a nice drive up the side here.
Livy Moore with a long run, trying to build on a counter opportunity. BYU, to their credit, got numbers back. And some physicality as this ball will stay with BYU and a premature restart. As I believe we're going to have just a chat with our official tonight, Amin Hadzic. BYU looking for their first soccer title since joining the Big 12 a few years ago. This a turnover to Kansas for a throw. Livy Moore will do the honors again, first year coming over from Oregon. And this will stay with Kansas. We're talking about Kansas as a 7 seed who had a winning record in Big 12, 6-4-1. There were years the Big 12 only had 9 teams, 8 of whom would qualify. And so if you were Nate Lee and you had the 7 seed, you were probably getting in just basically because only one team was left out. That's not true anymore in the Big 12. You're up against NCAA talent. It'll be a challenge if Nate Lee is going to find a second consecutive Big 12 title in his first 2 years at the helm. With more, here's Michelle.
Yeah, well, Coach Nate Lee told me that the first time they played BYU, he spent about 20 minutes pregame just chatting with Jennifer Rockwood, and he admitted to me he was actually a little starstruck because she's such a legendary coach. He said when he was coaching at Xavier, he would turn on the TV late in the postseason, and there she was in the Final Four seemingly every year. He admitted that he has so much respect for her. Says it's definitely a different feeling when you're standing right next to her. They caught up a little bit pregame tonight, too, but back between you.
Yeah, BYU was the national runner-up in 2021. Made it back to the College Cup in 2023. Jayhawks, just not enough numbers for it, but still able to keep this one in the area. As Cougars struggling to clear it out. Chelsea Peterson waiting for that next shot on her goal, and at the moment that shot is not going to come. Mackenzie Vance will send it back up towards midfield. Of course, boy, would Kansas love to have a run to the College Cup. It's going to be back in Kansas City where the Big 12 championship was last year, where they lifted that conference trophy for a second time. Of course, that's the home of the NWSL, Kansas City Current. Opportunity for the Jayhawks. Ball spills loose, but able to recover is Peterson before Kansas can hop on it. Nervy moments, but Peterson comes through.
Looks like aggressor Carolyn Caston's there just putting it in the mix, but a really great read there from Peterson.
Peterson able to scoop it up and fire it out to Freeman. And Freeman, a former State of Georgia Gatorade Player of the Year and a starter since her freshman year. So remember, Kansas was defending there for a while. It's been BYU as of late fending off the Jayhawks attack. 2 of the top 3 scoring offenses in the Big 12 at the moment, both scoreless in this one, 15 minutes in. Ball up ahead. This will be a goal kick coming up for Sophie Daw, who is enjoying a little less camera time here for the past few minutes as the pressure's been put on the opposing goalkeeper. Again, she was last year's most outstanding defensive player. That's when Kansas prevailed 1-0 in the final. The lone goal came on a penalty kick in the second half. You see the numbers Daw has put up this year, just a little over a goal conceded per 90 minutes. Kansas got past your goalkeeper of the year, Jordan Nidus. Nidus getting her 3rd conference honor with 2 different programs. Her first goalkeeper of the year honor came with Oklahoma State, last 2 years now with Colorado. Kansas able to get 2 past her. And in the run for the Buffaloes. Azul Alvarez of Baylor was your other first-team all-conference goalkeeper. 9 shutouts this year. There's a stingy Baylor defense. But BYU was able to find the back of the net 4 times in the semifinal. Again, Peterson, aided by her back line, able to get to that one stress-free.
Looks like she's trying to calm her team down there a bit. And looking at the pace of this game, you can understand why the intensity is so high. It's kind of the way it has to be as the aggressor, but that's where, as a team, you have to settle things down a little bit right in the middle of run of play just to change pace, change things up a bit, because both teams full steam ahead right now.
Grigorski able to win this one in the attacking third. Her service blocked. It'll be a corner kick for Kansas now. And Jillian Grigorski, 2nd team all-conference, the sophomore. So good at finding dangerous spaces.
And Izzy Stratton, great job just to read that one. It was a missed touch, but she didn't think much on it, able to get there and defend really well without putting up anything silly there in the box, either all ball.
Caston's 11 assists this year with the low driving kick. BYU denies Kansas another corner opportunity, simply a throw coming up for the 7-seed Jayhawks.
Again, talking about the pace of the game so far, these ladies, it's so difficult to do in the run of play, but if they can find those moments where they can slow things down, really put those key passes into the right spots, things are going to start to open up here for both of these ladies. I think both teams just trying to really figure each other out and break things down, but because that intensity is so high, they're really not able to connect much there in the final third.
Kansas back into the attacking third, looking to test Chelsea Peterson one more time. A shot that takes a deflection. Recaptured by Mia Getchie, the standout freshman out of the Golden State. Moore trying to keep this opportunity alive. Both players emptying their tanks, trying to get to that one.
This is everything that you want in a match, Lincoln. It's the physicality, it's the beautiful style of play. You know, a lot of people talk, you know, they don't love the 3-5-2, but when you've got this Kansas team, they do it so well with intention. It's not a bunch of kickball forwards and backwards. They really utilize the wide edges, not a ton of 3-5-2s. Do that so well, and that's something that they do great. And then you could say the same about BYU with the 4-4-2 that they're running, that diamond in the middle. They're running it at a very, very high level. So when I was talking about earlier about this being an NWSL caliber game, that is what I mean. It's not just having the individual talent, it's being able to execute these strategies and systems that coach has put in place, and that's really on both sides.
Both teams throughout the night are going to be asked to do some quick problem solving. 20 minutes gone, just about. Still looking for one of these two teams to inch ahead, trying to reach out and claim that Big 12 tournament title. Kansas, your defending champions, made that great run as a 6th seed last year. They were not sneaking up on anybody this year. And of course, BYU, a rare, quote, down season. One of your regulars in the NCAA tournament, regardless of conference. Long strides from Freeman to get to the end line. She'll be denied a chance to have service. That's Gregorski thwarting that effort from BYU. So we saw her offensively on one end, end-line to end-line stuff from Gregorski. Walbruch will test things from distance, and it's a classic. Ellie Walbruch. All she does is score bangers in the Big 12 tournament, her 5th of this postseason. It was a slow start to 2025, but she has found her stride when it matters the most.
It's reminiscent of the goal against TCU. You just can't give her any inch of space. She knows where to be, right place at the right time, and she can take these from distance. Look at the power, the precision there from Ellie Walbruch. Just incredible next level player. That's 16 goals on the season. A good chunk of those coming here from the tournament. And we talked about her in the pre-game chat. We know she can put it away from anywhere, but when you've got a really good BYU team, they've done a great job of creating distraction, giving her that wide open space just to get in.
We should all be so fortunate to bounce back from an ACL that kept her out last year. Now, fortunately for us in our job security, she wants to be a broadcaster, but I have a feeling her soccer playing days, she's got a few more years to go at the next level before we have to worry.
Oh, plenty of time. She's going to make her way into the pros, no problem. And for a long time if she stays healthy.
Kansas, for a second straight outing, finds themselves trailing. And they find that quick strike equalizer.
And speaking of pro, Lucy Kessler, number 33, the assist on that one, just finding Walbruch really in the right time, right space. But Kessler, U.S. Women's National Team U20 player, as BYU is at it again.
Walbruch looking to share the wealth. Sophie Daw comes out to deny the insurance. Well, even with a cape on her back, could not keep that goal out from Walbruch, but no hesitation when she saw the Cougars returning to her end of the pitch to get out on top of that one.
I love the bravery there from Mia Ghosh, the selflessness just to get out in front, but my goodness, Sophie Daw, an absolute brick house. Nobody's getting through her, and a lot of it is because of that speed off her line.
Nate Lee summed up his goalkeeper simply saying she is built for tournaments. Under the pressure here, Kansas probably feels like they cannot afford to give up a second to this BYU team that quickly found 4 against Baylor. It was almost 2-0 BYU.
Incredible work there, just getting into some tricky spots. Again, Mia Ghosh, the bravery, but it's Sophie Daw coming off her line with speed, an absolute brick house just to deny that. When you talk about fearlessness, that's Sophie Daw.
Walbruch will get as close as possible to the opposing keeper, try to frustrate her as a couple of the Cougars over in the corner for this one. That's Cromenhoek, second team all-conference, the sophomore, who would put her right foot into it. She does have the short option to Freeman. They will play it short, but this time to the left elbow to Vance. Vance lobs one in, ball spills loose. As a couple of Jayhawks get in each other's way, but in the end, no damage done. Daw able to swallow that one up.
Great ball in there from BYU. Mackenzie Vance has really been clinical there in the wide edges for BYU. Does a great job of filling in that weak side, in and out. Honestly, just running this system to a T as BYU.
Of those 6 shots for BYU, 3 on goal, prompting 2 saves from Daw. Moore hoping for a miscue from that blue-clad back line. No such luck with, again, the all-conference defender at center back, Izzy Stratton. They'll try to build up the right side. These are pretty ideal conditions. Neither coach is going to have to make personnel changes here in the opening half due to heat or humidity.
No water breaks.
It's Ellie Walbruch, who had a brace in the quarterfinals, brace in the semifinals, who has BYU out on top here with anything but a boring strike from distance. With the replay, you helped us appreciate the spin that she put on that ball. Again, 16th goal on the year for Walbruch. 3 of them came as a hat trick against Arizona in conference play. Cougars right now, last check, 26 RPI. Be a nice shot in the arm if they could add a victory against Kansas. And it's been fluid throughout the week. But last check, Kansas was number 5 in the nation in RPI. How's that for a number 7 seed in the conference tournament?
Yeah, that should tell you something about the Big 12 and the quality that's here. I think you're going to see a lot of Big 12 teams with some NCAA bids and home games.
Flag stays down for Oviatt. Not sure if it would have come up after the fact. Let's take you back to right now, the difference on the scoreboard. Now 20 minutes in.
Again, it's about Ellie Walbruch just being left open. Doesn't matter where she's at on the field. You just cannot give her that kind of space, especially when you've got a Kansas team playing 5 in the middle. That's where you really need to close things down. I think because she shoots so far from distance, you just don't expect it. But, you know, that's a lesson learned here pretty quickly on.
And Kansas back on the attack. And, of course, if you've been watching this week, you know that's our cue to send it to Michelle. We'll check in with Michelle in a little bit. 18 and a half minutes still to go here BYU just as interested in finding insurance as Kansas is in finding an equalizer.
Coach had talked about Ellie Walbruch and how the team loves having somebody like her who they know that they can lean on. It gives them that confidence to really get up and get forward. A lot of times 4-4-2s, they get stuck in a flat back four, and it allows a lot of teams to come back at them. People tend to see it as a defensive, more of a defensive system, but when you have ladies like Ellie Walbruch, you know that you can put up goals. So you're more likely to get forward, and that's what you're seeing here from BYU. They're being the aggressor. They're figuring out how to find those lines there for Kansas.
Freshman Afton Perry, who made half the starts this year in the absence at the time of an injured teammate in Vance, who, of course, is back and good to go here late in the season. Perry, one of the first subs of the night. And BYU came into the conference tournament 33 in RPI. They've climbed up to 26. And can, again, make another decent climb if they can knock off Kansas tonight and claim a trophy along the way. Moore. Service pending here from Harima, who just came into the match for Coach Lee and the Jayhawks. Trying to be an impact sub.
We've seen Livy Moore do a really good job getting up into those corners, getting services in. 4 goals, 4 assists on the season for her, as she is replaced here by Lydia Vates, again, a young goal scorer who has contributed here to this tournament. When you think about KU, you think about leaning on your veteran scorers, but it's been a lot of these younger first-time goal scorers, people off the bench stepping up in key moments.
Yeah, Walbruch for BYU, Watts for Kansas, understandably, have made their impacts this week, but we've seen both teams get contributions from players who may not have even seen a goal going to the back of the net until this conference tournament.
And that's what makes quality teams, the fact that they can really lean on a reliable bench. You don't get all the way to the Big 12 championship, or any championship for that matter, without a quality bench. These are 2 teams where probably their backup 11 could be starters really in any conference, or even any teams in this conference.
Hallie Dixon comes on. She had 2 assists off the bench against Baylor in the semifinal. She has primarily been coming off the bench this year, the junior out of Carlsbad, California. Really a world traveler growing up. Grew up in Italy, Washington, D.C., New Orleans, San Diego. These days suiting up for Jen Rockwood. Again, synonymous with so much success.
Hallie Dixon, really understated, but such a contributor there on the wing. Does a great job of just getting crosses off and in. Truly that spark off the bench.
This is Dixon, who just came into the match. Again, she refused to give up on a ball in the semifinal. Next thing you knew, she had an assist to help BYU get an early strike against Baylor. They would never have to look back. And trainer comes out to look at the junior. Last year was kept out much of the year coming off back surgery. This time, just a glancing blow off that cheek.
Just a right hook from the ball, no big deal.
Maybe balance it out with some rouge on the other cheek.
Good to see her pop up. Yeah, she did a really good job just on getting on the end of Summer Oviatt. Her cross in, she chipped the keeper, and Hallie Dixon was there to receive it. And, that says a lot about her, that grit. She's always going to be in the middle of it. I
mentioned back surgery last year, but she has battled spine issues her entire life. It is just a testament to the fight. One of the favorite teammates in that locker room for BYU, and just has a smile, ready to be welcomed back on to the competition here in a moment. A little over 15 minutes to go. Lincoln Rose, Katie Goodman, Michelle Montaigne with you in Waco. It is Walbruch for BYU who has them out in front, eyeing their first Big 12 trophy in women's soccer. Let's check in with Michelle Montaigne once again down on the pitch.
Well, I'll tell you who's not surprised by Ellie Walbruch's recent run of form. That would be her dad. He's been at every game this season, and he was her coach up until she was 13. He's still her trainer, and he told me that watching her these last 7 games, he feels like she's got her, quote, swag back. With these goals that have come, Lincoln, I'll pause.
Yeah, this is what Kansas does when Michelle gets on the mic. Let's send it back to Michelle.
It's a real thing. Go watch the semifinal. Anyways, what I was saying is he told me that before that quarterfinal game for BYU that she had told her dad, I'm going to have a brace. And guess what? She scored 2 goals. Then he told her before the semifinal that she was going to score. she doubled down on that. And I asked her tonight what she was expecting to see out of her, and she just gave me a big smile and said, nothing. Well, she let her play do the talking so far tonight. She's already found the back of the net, even though she didn't predict it.
She found the back of the net. Dad immediately found the camera after that goal. Good awareness on his part. He's had a lot of practice with all the goals Walbruch's been bearing into the opposing goal this year. Service from the inline. Cougars looking for a second. Oh, so close from the aforementioned Hallie Dixon. But it remains 1-0.
We talked about it. It's that grit and that drive. Always manages to find her way in the mix and in the middle of it. Just a great job getting there, but better defended there from Kansas. Olivia Page there to step up and deny it.
Daw will send it back up to midfield. I swear Michelle in her past life must have been a Missouri Tiger or a K-State Wildcat, because the Jayhawks, every time they're in the semifinals, she would want to give a report. Immediately they went on the attack and interrupted a perfectly good report from Michelle down on the pitch.
Well, we're grateful for Michelle and giving us all of that information. But yeah, you've got a player like Ellie Walbruch, she doesn't really need to predict much. She has a nose for goal. She knows it's going to fall. If it falls right to her feet with a nice wide open look, then she's going to take it. So just a really cool backstory.
13.5 minutes for Kansas to try to find an equalizer before halftime. We look forward to chatting with both coaches coming up at the break. This will be lost back over to the Cougars in their own end with the throw pending from Freeman. Langfelder out wide. Again off the bench, Harima. And that service will get away into the top of the netting.
BYU has done such a great job of just disrupting play here for Kansas. They've not really been able to find the rhythm here in this first 30 minutes or so, and just ending up being the dominating aggressor. But you know that's going to change going into the second half.
Most of these players were not alive the last time the Big 12 had a 7v8 matchup in the final. That was Oklahoma State's the 7th seed in 2003, knocking off Missouri in double overtime. A reminder, Golden Goal has been reinstituted as of the past couple of years. I say that because the last time that the Big 12 championship went to overtime was down in Round Rock. West Virginia found a goal in the first overtime, but due to a short-lived NCAA policy, that did not immediately let them walk off winners, despite the fireworks that did launch a little prematurely. They would hang on for the 1-0 win over TCU that day. But we are back to Golden Goal in overtime. You do not have to play both 10-minute periods if you have to be level. Now, BYU has no interest in this match ever being level. They are already out ahead on a Walbruch goal.
Truly doing everything in their power just to maintain that, but they've done such a great job of breaking down this back line.
Here is your goal scorer, Walbruch, trying to get teammates involved. The Jayhawks able to throw numbers and win this one back.
Something Coach Lee had mentioned when we had a chance to speak with him was that, you know, he can tell his ladies there are nervous if they're not wanting the ball and on the ball a ton. I think when you look at those opening 10, 15 minutes, it was a lot of pass, you know, just keep away versus really trying to create something. So I can imagine there's going to be a lot of conversation around that going into the second.
Love the fight that we are seeing for every single 50-50 ball. No pass goes uncontested. Restart here from Lucy Kessler. Graduated high school a year early to join them as a freshman last year. As the play will come to a halt on the most recent visit from BYU.
Just looking back at this, you've got Hallie Dixon's name circled on the sheet, a couple of Kansas jerseys trying to shut her down.
Kawagish, the fifth-year senior out of Osaka, Japan, started her career at North Carolina State with the ball at her feet.
If you've noticed, Hallie Dixon is really playing up top and Ellie Walbruch down in the middle just to try to help handle that onslaught of pressure coming from Kansas. We knew going into this match that she was that utilitarian player, sometimes plays the point person, other times helps to manage in the middle.
Harima, we haven't called the name Lexi Watts very often tonight. We know not to assume that's going to be the case for the full 90 minutes. An influx for the Jayhawks as they make a pair of changes. Lexi Watts will get a breather. Becca Smith will come on. 14 appearances off the bench, including 3 goals off the bench this year for the freshman out of the land of 10,000 lakes. Nate Lee talking about Becca Smith with us this week, how the game is a lot slower for her in terms of, she's just a freshman, but things have already slowed down for her.
She really
calm presence.
Yeah, I was going to say she really has the ability to change the game, and I think that's exactly why you're seeing her put in here right now, as he knows that his team's a little frazzled.
Harima inline service to the penalty spot, a bit off the mark. Kawagish able to keep it alive. This one will make its way into the arms of Chelsea Peterson, who's been defending a 1-0 lead since about the 20th minute.
You can see her talking to her team, calm down, settle. Really hard thing to do when it's just a fast-paced game to begin with. I've talked about this before, but the complementary styles, that's what happens when you've got a matchup like this. But it's in the run of play when you can really settle things down, calm things down. You can expect Becca Smith to really do that for Kansas here.
And it was BYU who knocked off the regular season champions, the number 5 team in the nation, TCU, who continued the curse of regular season crowns in the Big 12. Just as competitive as this conference is, we have not seen a number 1 seed win the tournament since TCU did that back in 2021. Before that, you'd have to go back to 2016. It is rare to see any of the top 3 seeds lift the title. Top 3 seeds in the Big 12 tournament have only won 3 times in the last decade. So when we talk about Cinderella runs, that seems like an annual event. We talk about, though, this year, Kansas and BYU, unlike a lot of 7 and 8 seeds, are not playing for their NCAA tournament lives. They are playing for improved seeding.
You know, there's always going to be an upset, and then if you go in as 1 or 2 or even 3, your name is circled on the sheet. You're going to get the absolute best that a team has to offer in those situations. So, you know, it's really the rarity is having a number 1 continue all the way and to take the tournament title.
Walbruch wins it back. And don't know if we had an inadvertent whistle, but either way, this will stay with BYU.
And really, at the end of the day, all that matters is what you're able to do in the tournament, right? Because every team wants that title. So, I mean, whether you come in at 7, 8, 4, 5, as long as you play good here.
Perry to the top of the 18. This is Faith Johnson off the bench, tracking this one down. The freshman now to Baton Rouge. Prolific goal scorer in her high school days, and they know eventually things are going to click here at the collegiate level as well. 6.5 minutes remaining in the opening half of the Big 12 Soccer Championship presented by Allstate. Here's the Cougars of BYU trying to be the first number 8 seed to win this event in the Big 12's 29 tournaments. And again, this year, 8 seed means you were the last team in. Cougars trying to be the last team standing. We saw 12 qualify last year and make their way to Kansas City, which of course made Kansas's run as a 6 seed all the harder. They had to win 4 games last year. This is just the 3rd match of the week for these 2 teams here in 2025. It's been a while since we worked in a cliche, Katie. This is where, as a soccer commentator, you have to point out, last 5 minutes of the half is when coaches are worried that you let a cheap goal go home.
Almost called it there, Lincoln, but well read from Chelsea Peterson. Not about to let that happen on her watch. Still plenty of time.
A little over 5 minutes to go. Again, has done everything they have needed from her so far.
And really with this matchup, that absolutely could happen on either side at this point, as things are starting to really turn up here for Kansas. Ton of pressure coming from Faith Johnson up top has really helped to kind of spread the field a bit.
Yeah, Lexi Watts off the field for the remainder of the opening half. So an equalizer would not come from her here before halftime. Hard to believe Lexi, a senior. She hit the ground running from day one as a Jayhawk as a freshman.
He's put up multiple goals throughout the years. In 23, had 2 goals, 3 assists. Moved that in 24 to 9 goals and 3 assists, and now sitting at 10 goals, 4 assists. So just her development has been incredible. And you know you're going to see her somewhere special after this.
Trying to test that back line. No mistake by Avery Frischnecht, who's been battling a knee injury, but wasn't going to miss this championship, the center back. A couple of other injuries throughout her high school days. Here she is, trying to be an impact player on that back line for BYU. Jayhawks looking for that elusive equalizer. Building again from the left side. Just don't get the service they had hoped for there. Walbruch.
Both teams playing a really physical, again, transitional style of play. You can see where they're starting to lag here. Everyone giving everything in these first 45 minutes, but the game naturally just starting to slow down. Really good time here for Kansas to try to find a seam, maybe on the dribble. Of course, you've got likes of Faith Johnson there, sitting up top. Coach had mentioned she's done really well in just doing the dirty work, bringing the grit. Really quiet, but good with both feet. Still young, but has been quite the impact there for him. Goal, 2 assists.
This will stay with the Jayhawks. 3 minutes to go until the end of the opening half. Castens will send it in. Back in her home state of Texas. She's from up the road in Flower Mound. Went to Marcus High School, the former Marauder.
Really says something about a player when they can play at one of the best programs and at home. You know there's a ton of talent there in Kansas, and just to have the privilege of playing near family, I think that's really something else.
Great support from both programs here in Waco. A lot of the folks came out to the games in the early rounds in Fort Worth, endured I-35 to get here to Betty Lou.
Wouldn't wish I-35 on anyone.
Again, selection from the committee will be announced on Monday. A lot more conference championships unfolding tomorrow. The Big 12 crowning a winner on this Saturday night in Waco. Jayhawks, 2 minutes to go in the opening half. Just one shot on goal tonight. And a corner kick coming up, a chance for a late impact.
They've got to make the most of this corner opportunity. They just have not had much in run of play. If they can put this away going into the second half, they're going to be a really great spot. They've been tricky on the corners before. Tend to have an onslaught of pressure. Lots of movement in the box.
Again, Castens, one of the best in America, 11 assists on the year. Can she find a teammate here with that left foot? A low drive to the top of the 18, looking for that one-timer. Well, over the crossbar from Langfelder.
Unfortunate there for Kate Langfelder. Was in the right spot at the right time, just not able to get it down and drive it. You could tell she was trying to chip it a little bit. There was some traffic there, just skied it a little bit.
Ellie Walbruch with the difference maker in the 21st minute. The lone goal to come from those 7 shots tonight from BYU. Getchy and Kessler both with assists on that scoring strike. As you see Rasmussen in for Harima. Kansas trailed at halftime against Colorado. They had not won a match all year, though limited sample size. Had only trailed 3 times before this week at halftime. They've been front runners with a prolific attack, but they found their first comeback win from halftime at the expense of Colorado in the semifinal. For Colorado, that was their first loss after having a lead at the midway break. We'll see Colorado again in the NCAA tournament.
It feels like in the playoffs that a lot of those stats kind of go out the window because everyone is just playing their best ball. It's do or die at this point, so you get some really spectacular stuff.
Kansas trying to sneak one through in the final seconds. Chelsea Peterson will swallow it up, and with that, take a lead into halftime. BYU could be 45 minutes away from lifting their first Big 12 soccer championship. You see the numbers. All right, let's send it down to Michelle, who is with the head coach.
Nate, you told us coming into this game that you could tell your team was nervous when they avoided retaining the ball. How would you assess their nerves here in the first half?
I thought we were a little shaky the first 10-15 minutes. I hoped we'd get through it without getting punished, and unfortunately they have a great player who made a great play. I thought the last 25-30 minutes we were in control, or it felt like we were in control. I'd like to be a little bit more dangerous, but I thought our team really settled in and was able to dictate the game for the most part, but unfortunately we gave them the first 15.
Fortunately, though, your team has come back from a one-goal deficit. What adjustments can we expect to see out of them in the second half?
I think we could be a little bit more assertive in the final third. We were looking to pass a little bit more than we'd like. I think Lexi did a good job of running at those players. Maybe we can take that extra touch and not shoot from such distance, but I just think we have to gain territory. We got really good there when we gained territory, and then all their clearances seemed to come to us, and then we can possess, and then we can start again.
Nate, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Michelle, thank you. Both Nate and Michelle have already made some mid-match adjustments, putting on some layers as things have finally dipped below 70 degrees. But things are just heating up for the folks out of BYU. Walbruch doing what Walbruch has done all postseason. She's got the Cougars up 1-0. Winding down halftime here in Waco. Again, a great turnout for the folks cheering on the Cougars and the Jayhawks. Jayhawks looking for their third all-time tournament crown as one of the originals in the Big 12, while the newcomer Cougars looking for their first add to the showcase. They found the first goal. It's Walbruch, her second goal of the year against the Jayhawks. She came up with the lone scoring strike in that 3-1 loss at home against Kansas. Has them on the front foot here in the championship.
Deja vu for Ellie Walbruch there. No stranger to putting bangers away, whether it's from a corner set piece, hitting that back post, or just putting it away truly from distance. BYU has just done a better job of getting in and through, trying to find better ways and better looks at goal. And when you look at Kansas, they've just struggled to find their true form in the attacking third. They've got to do a better job of getting higher into those corners. BYU has done so well to force them wide and really close down any kind of forward movement, dominating the midfield there.
BYU unable to find insurance. Kansas unable to find an equalizer. This one's still anybody's trophy to be had at the end of the night. Walbruch still coaching up her teammates coming out of the halftime here at Betty Lou Mays Field. This is one of more of the scenic backdrops along the Brazos River in all of college soccer. Again, Kansas among the originals in Big 12. Claimed their first Big 12 regular season title in 2004, but their first automatic bid out of the conference didn't come until they lifted the title in 2019 in Kansas City. They would claim their second postseason trophy in the conference last year. And again, some young Cougars who might be too young to remember the recent College Cup runs, including that national finalist finish. Of course, all that under the guidance of Jen Rockwood, who's with Michelle Montaigne.
Thanks, Lincoln. Jen, what was the message to these girls during that halftime?
Just to remind them how we play. We're a possession team, and we got a little unsettled there towards the end and couldn't connect any passes. And there's a lot more space out there than we think. Kansas presses hard. They have a lot of high energy. We just need to be a little bit more composed on the ball.
As far as adjustments when playing with a lead, can we expect to see any of that in the second half?
No, we're going to go with the same starting group. Ellie had an awesome shot. Kind of joked around with that selection, but then it went in, so it's awesome. But no, we just need to settle down a lot. We're a good possession team, and we just need to connect a few more passes, find the weak side, and get in behind them a bit more.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Lincoln?
Michelle, thank you. And again, great to hear from the two coaches. Enjoyed chatting with them throughout the week as their teams made these great runs to the final. BYU in their second Big 12 championship final in the past few years fell to Texas a few years ago in Round Rock. And BYU has a chance to be the first 8 seed to lift the title in this 29-year history for the tournament. Again, we won't say that it's an upset, because that's a team that every year has a target on their backs. They've now just been receiving everybody's best effort night in, night out these past few years in the Big 12 for Kansas. It's rare to repeat in this conference. It's only been done by about 4 programs over the years. Most recently, West Virginia, about a decade ago.
Yeah, when you look at BYU, the struggles they've had throughout the season with injuries, with players leaving early on, going for mission trips. It's been a challenge there for BYU, but they've got a functioning team here at the right time, going into playoffs, got a couple of wins under their belt. Things were really starting to move like a well-oiled machine.
Ellie Walbruch has not just scored 1 goal on any given night here in the conference tournament. It has been brace after brace, and that means she is scheduled to find another here tonight, perhaps, in the last Big 12 tournament repeat. West Virginia, since they came into the league back in 2012, they've been the closest thing to the New York Yankees we have seen in this conference. But even they know it's been getting harder and harder as this conference gets deeper and deeper to claim trophies. So again, second half underway. Still no cards being handed. Because this is a more exclusive field of just 8 teams, they were left out despite their best year in their young 10-year history. One of the younger programs in Division I, record-breaking season under first-year head coach Colleen Corbin. They probably were rooting for Colorado to win it all. That would have given them maybe enough boost in the RPI to be a bubble team. But it appears Big 12 will be content with half of their members getting into the NCAA tournament. We'll see it all unfold on Monday. Lincoln Rose, Katie Goodman, Michelle Montaigne with you. As the Cougars, you heard from their head coach after finding that first goal, at times perhaps playing beyond themselves. Walbruch can't believe she's not celebrating her second. It's the Jayhawks still trailing by just 1.
A rarity for Walbruch to miss an open net there, but a big part of that was just the pressure from Sophie Daw cutting off that angle, doing a great job there, forcing that ball wide. But when you look at the run through the middle, such a difficult run to track in the way that she moves. A ton of speed, unsuspecting speed there from Ellie Walbruch, got her in through that seam.
That was such a great ball from her teammate Mackenzie Vance, who also was with her at UCLA for that national championship in 2022. Vance, the only healthy senior for BYU this year. Coach summed her up as spicy.
Everybody needs a spicy player on the team. Someone to mix things up.
Giveaway here to the Jayhawks. Ball at the feet of Castens. Here comes the attack, and this is not where you want to see the ball, at the feet of Watts if you're BYU. But fortunately, there were enough blue shirts in the box. This will stay with Kansas. Lexi Watts had one of those 3 goals against BYU earlier this year in the win. Last year's most outstanding player in the championship in Kansas City.
We've seen it before where Lexi Watts is able to pull multiple players in. It leaves Wimes wide open. Unfortunately, was not able to get that over to her telepathic counterpart.
Caston sends the probe into the box. 3 minutes gone here in the second half. Watts trying to win a corner. She has. BYU thought it had already eclipsed the end line. No such luck. Now that's not reviewable. We do remind you we do have replay available to our official on a handful of decisions. We give you another look at home.
You really have to see if that ball crossed the plane or not.
Nope.
And it never did. She was able to get it off while he was on the line, and I think that's where they get the call.
Great look from our crew. This one parried up and over, and it'll be in back-to-back corners for Kansas.
These little wins are exactly what Kansas needs right now. Just start piling up corners. You've seen them put it away before. Again, they are at their strongest in the wide edges.
Just the 3rd start of the year for Chelsea Peterson. parries another one away. It'll be a third corner coming up for Kansas. Again, Peterson, a former starter at Utah before stepping away for 2 years for her service. Enrolled at BYU just as a student. This past week, we saw her put up 7 saves to force a shootout against TCU in which she and BYU prevailed to knock off the regular season champions. A shutout of Baylor in the semifinal, and so far a clean sheet here tonight in the championship final. As BYU will win this one at midfield. 7 straight NCAA tournaments for BYU, 12 of the last 13 years. And they do not make plans to do anything but compete in the month of November. The offseason can wait. A foul will halt play and send it back the other way.
Things getting a little more chippy up top there for Kansas. And love to see it defending there from up top, really starting to force the ball wide, right where they want it. Just a little bit more control.
Watts able to turn. Beats her defender, sends in a nice pass looking for Wimes. BYU able to intervene not once but twice. Cougars showing their composure under pressure.
Close call there for Jillian Grigorski. One of those players who tends to pop up, make things happen. Underrated, Coach Lee says.
Wimes had one of those 3 goals at BYU this year in the win for Kansas. It has been a week full of payback for teams in the Big 12, including that first day with so many, quote, upsets. Most teams who got a rematch in the tournament this year with a team that beat them were able to exact revenge by ending the conference tournament run of the team who handed in that loss during the season. BYU hopes that trend continues here. We've seen the lower seed in the championship win each of the last 3 years, including when Kansas was the 6th seed. It's BYU at number 8, hoping to deny the Jayhawks a repeat. And again, we talk about no conference tournament championship since '09, but big part of that is the West Coast Conference. Your regular season champion got the automatic bid. There was no conference tournament, but BYU with plenty of success in their prior homes, including the Mountain West. And slow to get up at the moment is Presley Freeman, everyday starter since her freshman year.
But a next level effort there from Grigorski. I mean, giving everything she has just to push that line forward. As you can see, just gets caught up with an ankle roll. It's a tough one to just pop up and come back from. Might need an ankle wrap, some miracle spray. Hopefully she's able to get up and walk it off. It's not looking good.
And she was a part of that youth movement last year for BYU, for Jen Rockwood.
Coach said she was a regular starter, can play anywhere, converted from forward to outside back. So good on the 1v1 defense.
The play halted 7 minutes into the second half. BYU up 1-0. And Freeman, this year's second team all Big 12. Still experiencing some discomfort.
And only a sophomore.
Well, you don't get many timeouts in this sport, so a chance for both coaches to talk things over here with 38 minutes to go.
Yeah, typically it's when things are a little hot and toasty, they'll give you a break, but good time to just take a breath and a breather. Definitely in this second half, things aren't looking as intense or scattered for both teams. I think both teams went into the locker room and realized, hey, we've got to settle down a little bit, really connect passes, be a little more intentional as you break through the midfield into the attacking third.
Not sure if we will see Presley back in this one, as BYU will have to make a change on the back line. hanging on to a goal advantage. And again, could not even put nominal weight. Ella Rustand will come on, the junior at the back line. She had often rotated this year with Neff in this lineup. 18th appearance off the bench for Ella. Last year, an everyday starter on that back line, a luxury for BYU.
Coach mentions, gives the wingers really a max capacity. Big part of that is just the amount of work those outside backs do for BYU, and now she's probably going to be taking a good chunk of the load there on her own.
Livy Moore waiting for the green light. About 5 yards outside of the 18. 4 assists this year, a driving probe. Sent back out. Watts. And Kansas was that close to leveling things in Waco. All eyes were on Lexi Watts. She had a different plan in mind, sending it in to a teammate.
Again, you just can't discount Kansas, whether it's a pretty goal or a scrappy goal. They're there for it. Gregorski, unfortunately, goes just wide, but you also had Sage Wimes running backside.
Gregorski, 8 goals this year, one of them against BYU. Cougars under some pressure here, and a foul on Kansas will end this threat. Yeah, even if things weren't chippy and physical in the first 8 minutes of the second half, it'd be hard to believe that that would be true for the entirety of the second half. Every ball is going to be fought for. BYU determined to find a second goal. Kansas desperate to find an equalizer. This is the match that all 16 teams in the Big 12 began their year hoping to play in.
Kansas making it much more difficult for BYU to build out of the back.
And a late foul called after a kick to the midsection brings Emma Neff down. And initially, they've had the wind knocked out of her, back up on her feet.
Unfortunately there for Emma Neff. We'll have a look back as Castens tries to make the clearance, and it's a knee right to the gut, man. We've all been there, but too bad for BYU. Really had a break there into the corner. Might have been able to make something from it.
Sophie Dahl back on her goal line, determined to keep the deficit at 1. Cougars found the lone goal, courtesy of Walbruch, back in the 21st minute. Don't know what the XG would be on that strike from distance, but it has them up 1-0, looking still for a second. This one inside the penalty arc. Did not get everything she wanted. Swing that left foot through, and ultimately takes the opposing keeper Daw off the hook.
But what a beautiful run. The way that Mackenzie Vance was able to see that space, get in and get a look, just not the usual run. Just having the foresight to know that, hey, if I change things up a bit, I'm going to get a nice wide open pocket. Just a great example of just reading the game.
Castens will see that one go out. Caroline Castens, one of 3 Big 12 Co-Scholar athletes announced this week. Not just incredible on the pitch, but in the classroom as well. Most of Kansas's quality chances come through number 15. And Neff took a few liberties in terms of extra steps, eating up some real estate. They'll have her redo it from her own half.
She's just hungry to get closer to goal. Can you blame her?
Our referee was receiving some assistance from some voluntary ARs from the Sunflower State.
Had a whole starting 11 giving him problems.
Stratton making some runs, breaking some lines. Cougars looking to break some hearts. Cromenhoek, they'll double down on her. She's going to win a corner kick. A little over 34 minutes to go. At the moment, BYU is faced with the dilemma of where in the world do they fit another trophy back in their showcase.
I'm sure they can make room.
Kessler and Vance. Lucy will send this one in. Back post. And a goal kick coming up. Again, after TCU knocked out BYU last year in Kansas City, BYU returned the favor this year. And it was 2 years ago that BYU was the runner-up, reaching this final, but falling, and was pretty close to a home match for Texas, just up the road in Round Rock from them. That's just down the road from us.
Some good sportsmanship from Kansas. Picking up Lucy Kessler after knocking her to the ground, so chippy but classy.
Yeah, your parents teach you to pick up after yourselves. Kessler missed the Kansas match earlier this year for all the right reasons. Again, with the youth national system with the United States. Wimes determined to get to this ball first. But Stratton, again, all-conference center back, spotted her over her shoulder. Now the ball at the feet of Watts. Kansas looking to level it here in the second half. Pushing forward, service in, and it's a single skip into the sternum of Chelsea Peterson, still with a clean sheet tonight.
But again, Kansas doing a much better job of just forcing the pass, forcing turnovers with that high press mentality. Just didn't have quite as much of the wave, I think, as she was hoping. That is Sage Wimes as she made her way up there, but it was just enough just to cause some problems. Now, moving forward, once you get that touch, it's getting the cross off a little bit cleaner. It's the first one or two passes before you're in the attacking third, really setting your team up for success.
And a collision at midfield. Our official sees no reason to halt play. That'll favor BYU. Walbruch on the wing. Do her teammates make the right runs into the box? It's a moot point now. Walbruch bringing it centrally. Will she get it back? She makes a run to the goal line. Will not have a chance to put her noggin into it. And Sophie Daw able to snatch it out of the air.
You know, sometimes it's the worst collisions that end up not being too bad, but great work here from Vance again, finding ways to break lines and get looks at goal.
And Daw was the hero last year defensively in Kansas's championship run in Kansas City.
Just wasn't enough really pace on that ball coming from Vance. Went right to Daw's gloves.
Watts injects optimism for the fans of Kansas. Feels like there's 20 blue shirts back in that penalty area. They will halt play here. And well, let's get this straightened out. I believe this is an admonishment of a coach being told no more. Usually that means the fourth official has tattled on somebody.
Uh-oh.
And pardon me, no, they are going to come over to the monitor, see if there's a handball.
Yeah, well, even if it were a handball, the reason Izzy Stratton is as good as she is, the reason so many people have said so many incredible things, just if you look back at that review, the speed in which she came off her line, knowing that she had to close down that space, even if it meant leaving her center mark, really taking one for the team.
Now, we've had video review in the conference tournament for several years now. This was the first year during the regular season the Big 12 had this available. Boy, were there some dramatic moments around the conference that came down to review. In a moment, we will relay to you.
It's so much better and more fair when you have somebody who can really take time to look and see what happened. It's crazy to me when there are still leagues out there who don't have review.
This is what Amin Hancic is looking at. Is there a handball on the left arm of Avery Frischnecht? And again, at the moment, that arm is tight to her side. it would be hard for me to imagine that that is seen as a handball infraction. First finds her rib cage, then hits off her arm, which is still tight to her side.
Yeah, the fact that she's really pulling it behind her also shows that it's not an intention.
We expect no handball. Let's see how much we know. No handball, and you even saw him gesture. It hit her body first, and that's not always a get-out-of-jail-free card. But it does hit her body first, which helps her argument. The other thing that helped her was, again, that arm was not making her bigger.
Initially, I thought that they were going to call the handball on Izzy Stratton because that hit from distance looked like it hit her shoulder, but either way, they're out of danger now.
Kansas again found that game winner last year in the championship final, 1-0 from a second half penalty kick awarded to them. No such luck here, although that could perhaps be a foul in a dangerous spot, but the attack is over. And I do think our match officials appreciate the replay as much as anybody. They want to get the calls right, especially in critical moments. Neff. Watts. And we expect Kansas will hear their name called for an 11th time in school history with a bid into the NCAA tournament, but will it come via an automatic bid by virtue of lifting the title here tonight in a comeback? And substitutions, one for BYU. Folks, a reminder that every time you pay with one of Venmo's Big 12 school-branded Venmo debit cards, you're automatically entered for a chance to win Big 12 football championship tickets and VIP halftime access. Just pay like you always do for your shot at exclusive prizes. Scan the QR code for more details. As right now, it is BYU, thanks to a goal in the 21st minute from their top goal scorer, 16th goal of the year for Walbruch, leading here in the Big 12 Soccer Championship presented by Allstate. Can they find insurance before Kansas finds an equalizer? Kawagish. Wimes looking for a subtle touch. But again, BYU, I've yet to get out and count to confirm that there's only 11 players out there for the Cougars. It just always seems defensively they have a lot of numbers back, making it difficult for Kansas.
Yeah, well, they've got 4 along the back line, which just really helps them to stay tight. Kansas, the 5 along the back is nice, but then your wingers get up so high. That's where you get exploited there in behind. And BYU's just done a great job to find that space on the counter. Kansas, just a little bit of disconnect there between their midfield and their offense, despite really overloading the midfield. I think have struggled to find some quality moving forward.
These two teams have combined for 86 goals this year, 2 of the top 3 scoring teams in the Big 12 here in 2025. So far, it has yielded 1 goal tonight. We've seen championships where 1 goal is enough. We've seen other where all of a sudden the final 10 minutes or so, chaos prevails. We'll see how this one plays out when it's all said and done in a matchup of 7 versus 8. TCU was both the last 7 seed and the last 8 seed to make it to the final. It was 2016 for the Horned Frogs as a 7 seed, 2012 as an 8 seed, and again, last time we saw 7 versus 8, the Sooners picked up the double overtime win against Missouri. BYU at the moment in line to be the first 8 seed to lift the trophy. Kansas still has time and a little under a half hour to go. Perry. One of several freshmen being entrusted valuable minutes here in a big match. Watts is in the box. Gets the ball to settle, turns and fires, but again, a defender glued to her. And that one knocked down point blank by Mackenzie Vance. I'm surprised she's still on her feet. She took that one point blank. A trio of Jayhawks coming in here for a push. Let's give you another look.
A lot of people wanting a handball for that call. And when you look at it, it looks just like that, right into the elbow.
There's a reason why there was not a head injury protocol assessed. It's because it did hit the forearm. If that was in the box, you'd hear a few more folks screaming about it. This will stay with Kansas.
Yeah, that definitely would have been a shot to the noggin had that been point blank to the head. She'd be struggling to stand up after that one.
Big substitution, Madden Oviatt. She's found 3 goals this year off the bench, including one right here in Waco, moments after she subbed on against the stingy Bears. And that improved defense this year. Oviatt, who got married this off year, the former Madden Summers. Got her first touch. Kansas able to take it away. Oviatt would find another goal against Baylor in that semifinal win. Watts. Nice touch and turn. Harima sends one in. It won't be on goal, but just in case it took a touch off a Cougar. Diving to grab that one to deny a set piece. Chelsea Peterson. And just enrolled at BYU to take some courses.
Whatever it takes to be eligible.
She replaces another goalkeeper who, again, thought maybe her soccer days were over. It has not been your traditional rotation of goalkeepers at BYU these past few years.
How lucky are they to just happen upon her? Yeah. You know, to just have her randomly attending BYU and able to contribute.
Again, they found out just a few days before the start of the season that their intended starting goalkeeper was going ahead and retire. That then threw Peyton Collins into the starter's job. She held that until the season finale, tore her ACL against Utah. So what do? You go get the former Utah starting goalkeeper, Chelsea Peterson, plug her in as your starter after you had talked her out of retirement at the start of the year.
You know, sometimes you have to dust the cleats off, pull them out of the closet and lace them back up and get after it.
Her last match was in 2021 before being forced into action at the end of the season. Watts, another touch in the area, trying to wreak havoc against 3 Cougars. And that's enough numbers thrown at her to give Peterson a chance.
Watts with a quick turn makes her really hard to track. The bigger problem here is she doesn't have the support as she gets up. You see her, she opens her eyes to see if anybody's going to be running, coming in with a late run at the top of the 5, and there's just nobody there. It's really an easy collect for Chelsea Peterson.
Yeah, nobody making that run in case that ball spills loose. Langfelder. And let's see if we see our first card of the night. And I think that is the final verbal warning before we see a yellow souvenir come out.
Looks like a lot of body. If you look close, does chip the ankle there. Just the back heel to send her flying.
Back underway. Can the Jayhawks level this one, a goal apiece here in the Big 12 Championship? Cougars showing their discipline after taking the lead in the 21st minute. And able to clear this. Walbruch hoping to go on a run. She's battling hip to hip with Olivia Page. And this will be BYU with a throw. Both teams will dip into their bench, make a change. Before we get back underway, Lexi Watts will get her final breather coming off the pitch In her place, Becca Smith, the freshman. As Ella Labrum comes on as well. Had a goal in that semifinal, her first of the year, the former state champion out of Utah. We mentioned, sure, these teams got goals from Walbruch and Watts in the semifinal, but this week they also got some surprise scoring as well. That's appropriate for Kansas. Last year, their game winner in the championship from the penalty spot came from somebody who hadn't scored a goal all year.
So what makes championship teams is everybody's stepping up in these moments. It doesn't matter who it is, what you've done prior to this. What matters is who's taking the most of their opportunities. When you look at BYU right now, they've done so well on both sides of the ball. Not only are they defending perfectly, but the way that they get out in transition has just been really hard for Kansas to manage. Kansas just has not really been able to connect passes in the way that they like. Not a ton of possession for them.
I asked Nate Lee, why was Michaela Merlot taking that penalty kick last year a little past the hour mark, and he simply said she wanted it. That's what he's looking for in that moment, not in practice, but in that moment. Are you still raising your hand? Merlot wanted it. She took it, put it away. Kansas won 4 matches in 11 days last year in the expanded field of 12 teams. They knocked off the top 3 seeds in that run as the 6th seed to win it all. But right now, they're going to need to come back inside of 22 minutes. Dixon will come back in for Vance.
Going back to your point about who wants it more, you know, when it comes to PKs especially, it's all about what is in your gut at the time. You can have the highest goal scorer on the team, and if it's not in their gut, you know, give it to who is feeling it. So I can totally understand Coach Lee there.
Emily Tobin will get us back underway. And a halt in play. I want to take the moment, a belated thank you to all the folks at TCU and Baylor. Fantastic hosts this week for these programs. Of course, the Big 12, another entertaining week of soccer showcasing some of the best teams in the country. And as someone who has seen a whole lot of Big 12 soccer past decade and a half, this year stands out. This has been a special year from the start. And that is evident by, even with the 8-team field, just half the teams in the conference qualifying this year. The fact that all of them were credible winners. Each of them would have been a believable champion here tonight. But it's come down to these 2 teams.
Just been so many changes across conferences, and then you have the transfer portal, so I think a lot of the talent is beginning to spread across these Power 4 conferences, and then you get just high RPI teams all in one conference, makes some of the best soccer. Another break here for Kansas.
Castens, can she find another teammate? She'll send this one on goal herself. And a save added to the resume of Chelsea Peterson here in the Big 12 Championship final.
It's a great drive down. They're able to get numbers up, just not able to connect the passes. They've got to really find that spark of creativity if they want to put a goal up here in these final minutes. Just a lot of stagnant movement, or really lack thereof movement up top for Kansas.
And BYU won 11 West Coast Conference regular season titles in 13 years. With those came the automatic bid. There was no conference tournament. They got their fair share of knockout tournament experience in the NCAA tournament with some deep runs over those years. Now, competing here for the second time in their program's history in the final. Back post, it was almost Oviatt again.
What a run and what a development. I mean, BYU just continues to bring their best stuff.
Recycled ball into the box, and a foul will end this visit from the Cougars.
With the way things are going, it feels like the goal is imminent here for BYU. They're just doing a great job to get open looks at goal. What a dime piece there at the backside. And again, just dominant on the ball. They want the ball. They're carrying the ball. Look at even without a ton of numbers up, they're getting into passing lanes.
Dixon sends that to the top of the 18. Kansas able to clear it back to midfield. And Kansas right now is resting one of their difference makers for a final push. Lexi Watts on the sideline. BYU's headliner, goal scorer, Ellie Walbruch. Full strength off of last year's ACL injury. 16 goals, 6 of which this week in the conference tournament. As Wimes and company back on for the Jayhawks. 21st minute, Ellie Walbruch with a goal that anybody would be proud to put on their highlight reel.
And then when you look at this game, really that being the biggest difference maker and not needing a ton of opportunities. I mean, I think there was only one other goal that she had a pretty clean look at as well, and fortunately was well defended there by Sophie Daw. But, I mean, for the most part, Ellie Walbruch just does an incredible job of taking advantage of her chances.
Neff sends the probe in. And Cassidy Drago, the freshman, down for Oviatt. Here's Wimes, but not enough. White shirts in the area.
Again, a symptom of Kansas just not being as connected as they could be. You see a lot of these breakaways up top, but she just doesn't have the support behind her. Looking back at this foul, bit of a hit after the ball and a push down, that'll get you.
In the Big 12 tournament over the years, there are different truths that are pretty reliable. The regular season championship does not mean you're going to be lifting a postseason trophy, let alone playing for one. And repeating does not happen often in this conference. That is what Kansas is trying to do tonight. Wimes, again, greeted by 2 Cougars, and the numbers game adds up. That one taken away expertly by Stratton. Kansas will regroup at midfield.
This BYU team would not be who they are without Stratton on that back line. I mean, she has really shown her leadership, her confidence, her organization. She knows exactly when to step. One of the hardest things to do as a center back, an extremely cerebral position, yet also reactive at the same time. It's one of the positions where you have less time to make the right decision than a lot of the others. And you know, I think she's just done a standout job. Really pops off the page for me.
BYU still hanging on to that lone goal in the 21st minute. Walbruch will come off, your lone goal scorer tonight. In the first half, Ellie Walbruch asked for the ball, got the ball, and delivered.
Absolute banger, Sports Center top 10 type finish there from Walbruch. Expect nothing less. Wouldn't even doubt it if we see a second one of these before the game is over from Ellie Walbruch.
If that proves to be her 6th game winner of the year, it'll be a championship winner, giving BYU its first Big 12 trophy in women's soccer. And she is just catching her breath. She'll be back on this pitch sooner rather than later here tonight. 5th goal of the week for Walbruch after braces in the quarterfinals and semifinal. This ball for Wimes. Emptying the tank to get that ball was Avery Frischnecht. That knee looks pretty good.
Truly gave everything she had just to close down Sage Wimes. Sage with all the speed. I mean, had she tipped that pass, it would have been a whole nother ball game there for Kansas, but now Kansas can get set in a position. Lots of numbers up top here. They've got to make something of this. They've got to possess.
Lexi Watts has had her respite. Jayhawks still have a chance. Labrum into space. A little over 13 minutes to go here in Waco. Hard to believe one goal will be enough tonight. The two of the higher scoring offenses in the Big 12. This will stay with Kansas.
Yeah, between Ellie Walbruch and Lexi Watts, that's 26 goals just between the two of them. You'd think you'd see a little more firepower from Kansas, but it's the defense from BYU that has just really shut things down for Kansas. Really haven't had the rhythm, the possession that they like to have. No clear looks.
Everybody at the top of the 18 as this one makes its way into the area. Can BYU stay composed on their heels? Kansas was only shut out once in Big 12 play. That was in Lubbock at the start of October. They've only been shut out twice all year. The other time was against a different team from Utah, Utah State, in a scoreless draw. BYU looking for back-to-back shutouts after outscoring Baylor in the semifinal 4-0. Insurance has been harder to come by tonight in the backyard of the Bears. Dixon. Kansas still has yet to clear this ball out of harm.
It was a great ball in from Dixon, I think, just unexpected from her teammates, but it was a nice placement had there been a late run.
Allie Dixon probably in the first half had the most credible look on goal for Insurance for BYU, was just off the mark. Cougars know they have not put this one away.
And at this point, it really could be anybody's game. Of course, I think BYU with the slight edge, but that could change at any minute.
Over the top to Neff. Flag stays down as she's able to send it out. It'll be Wimes and company with a throw.
For BYU, it's going to be about just staying clean there in their box, clean defensively, continuing what they're doing on the defensive side. It's what makes them so tough to break down.
Emma Neff getting starts late in the year for Jorgensen, and Lexi Watts was looking to repeat the feat of Walbruch from a similar spot. Took a deflection, corner kick coming up.
You heard the entire stands gasp, looking for a banger of her own and really, really close on the mark. It's a great effort from Chelsea Peterson. She would not have gotten to it had that ball curved in just a little more. But don't count them out just yet.
10 minutes to go. Ball sent in. Again, Kansas had success at BYU this year off of a corner kick. Watts unable to find the equalizer there.
Really unlucky. I mean, I think speaks a little bit to just the luck that they've had in this game. Still struggling to get their momentum and rhythm going through. The ball bounces through the 5 right near your feet, just not able to put it away. A nice banger effort, and it goes awry.
Castens in a pocket of space. Finds the right foot of Becca Smith. She sends one in. It's just one. Did it take a touch? It did. Corner kick coming up for the Jayhawks as Peterson parries it wide.
Chelsea Peterson is an absolute boss. Look at this footwork from her. It's a great shot there, but it's this class act footwork that keeps BYU in this game. Able to get into that low bottom corner, deny it. All she needs is a single tip of the fingers to deny it.
Not bad for someone who would have been at best your third string keeper entering the year. BYU survives the corner. Tracked down by Felstad.
But nonetheless, the game is starting to open up here for Kansas, finally getting some really good looks.
And again, that ball was absolutely going in if not for the fingertips of Chelsea Peterson. Kansas has been knocking on the door, chipping away at the rock.
And when you talk about that Peterson save, it is so exceptional because she has not had the in-game training. Only in the last few games having had to step up. That type of reaction time in the last game before this was in 2021. Yeah, you've been practicing, but it's just not the same. You know, that's an IQ thing there for Peterson. She read the play really well, had the proper footwork and technique, and just got there.
So Lexi Watts obviously has come on to make an impact since returning from the bench. Now Walbruch will look to do the same after getting her breather.
The final push here.
The window for a comeback, 8 minutes here in regulation. And Kansas with 45 goals this year, the second most among Big 12 teams, scoreless tonight against this BYU defense. And the necessary adjustments in the semifinal were made by Nate Lee and company. He even spelled them out going into the locker room with a chat with Michelle during the semifinals. Those adjustments have been harder to implement here in the final. As right now, floating it up is Izzy Stratton, the all-conference center back.
Just looking back at this collision, it's really BYU taking each other out after the initial push there from Julian Grigowski.
Just like that, another minute has melted away. As the Cougars able to keep it away from Grigorski. And Kansas won all 4 matches last year in Kansas City, 2 this year in Fort Worth in the conference tournament on a 6-match winning streak in conference tournament play. And last year, Nate Lee became the first coach ever to win a Big 12 title in his first year with the Big 12 program. And a clean tackle, and things will keep progressing in this direction for Kansas. Sent in, back post, Castins almost with a chance to tuck it inside the woodwork. And that's how tonight has played out. So close, but still 1-0.
Talk about what would have been an epic goal. Kansas finally finding those spots backside, and talk about a service in from Grigorski. Castins so close. I think she would have been met there by Chelsea Peterson either way, but the effort really amping up here for Kansas. Finding ways in behind the back line.
Neff trying to keep it in play. It'll stay with the Jayhawks here in the attacking third. Both teams will make an adjustment off the bench before play gets back underway. Lucy Kessler, one of those coming back in. Again, first team all-conference in the midfield this year, the sophomore. 2 goals this year, both in the matchup against Oklahoma State for a brace.
Coach Lee had mentioned she was one to watch for him, just so well on the dribble. Knew his system would struggle with that, and she's just done really well to maintain that heartbeat of this BYU team.
Jayhawks almost found that equalizer with Caroline Castins making the back post run a moment ago. And they finally break through here late. And at the very least send this to overtime. A corner kick coming up for Kansas. 5 minutes to go in regulation. Can they test Chelsea Peterson again?
taking their chances where they can, even if it's through traffic, knowing that it can result in opportunities like a corner kick.
Castens looking to dial up a teammate in the championship final. Into the mixer, back post, the header from Page is wide.
You can see there when she puts her hands on her head that she just barely skimmed it. Not even a half step behind, just a millimeter behind. Not able to connect with it, put it on frame. You'll see it go by here, and it just seems to be the luck, unfortunately, for Kansas throughout this game. So many near misses, but doing a lot of things right now here in these final minutes, getting into the right spots, right placement.
When you see these beautiful headers for goals, boy, you take for granted how much you have to put into that in training just to get that subtle touch on the ball to direct it on frame. Sometimes looks so easy.
Yeah, big part of that is just finding a way to lose the defender and get out in front of it.
Watts keeps this playable, up ahead to Johnston. BYU trying to win a goal kick, and they will. That means a little more time is going to melt off that clock. If you're Chelsea Peterson, maybe you take a little bit of time.
Izzy Stratton, again, just doing what she does so well, shielding it out, sacrificing her body when she has to, and you've got to give some credit to the fight there from Grigorski.
And Stratton was a starter in that last trip to the College Cup in 2023, stepping away for missionary service last year, back on that back line this year, and perhaps a part of the first Big 12 championship team for BYU in women's soccer. Cougars marching forward as time melts away. That 8 on the shirt of Croman Hook, matching the seed of BYU, looking to become the first number 8 seed to win a Big 12 postseason title.
Don't want to jinx the match here. Lincoln could really still be anybody's game, especially with the way that Kansas has found ways in behind these last couple minutes. And it would make sense that the result of this game would be such a close one. Just two really quality teams.
As the BYU's ball is Castens unable to save it. Kenzie Vance will wipe it off. We mentioned the second-year Cougar, the lone healthy senior who's been a part of this run. And by design, our referee's on top of it. A little bit of a delay there. Emma Neff will throw this one in with a little over a minute and a half to go.
Just trying to polish the ball, get it nice and perfect for the match.
Yeah, out of respect to the game. Rustand. Kansas.
I mean, it is pretty gross when you get a ball that has someone else's sweat on it right to the face, or you pick it up with your hands and it's just...
Opportunity for the Jayhawks! The save of all saves from Chelsea Peterson with a championship within reach.
Multiple saves of the game for Chelsea Peterson. Again, it's the footwork. She doesn't overcommit, but she does get to it. It's the explosive push off that right foot, gets her to that low corner. She could run an absolute clinic on defending the corners.
Will she be tested again after denying Langfelder? As this ball continues to walk the tightrope, you see the urgency for Sophie Dahl well outside of her area to get this ball back in play. 30 seconds remaining in regulation. Kansas has been chasing since the 21st minute when Walbruch gave BYU its lead. Cougars looking to claim their first Big 12 title. Final seconds counting down in Waco. The last team in the tournament is the last team standing for the first time in program history. BYU, Big 12 champions.
Quality from top to bottom with this BYU team. Don't call it a comeback. It didn't feel like one. It was theirs from the first whistle, Lincoln. The defending across the board, immaculate. Goalkeeping, Chelsea Peterson keeping their team in it. 2 save of the week saves within 10 minutes. Just incredible work there from Chelsea Peterson. Then, of course, Ellie Walbruch easily. Also, goal of the week, Sports Center top 10 type finish. And that's the quality of this BYU team. Whether they're on the bench, whether they're on the field, you're going to get really good stuff.
Well, this wasn't about saying if the glass slipper fit. This is a program that has been wearing crowns for decades under the guidance of Jen Rockwood, who claims a Big 12 title with her team tonight. She's with Michelle Montaigne.
Jen, your first Big 12 title, and I know you've done a lot of winning, but how does this one feel?
Pretty amazing to come into this amazing conference, and we played in the championship game our first year, and to get back here with everything that we've been through and to kind of gut it out. It was a back and forth crazy game, but man, Chelsea came up huge in the game for us, and Ellie got the winning goal back in the front and in the back. Pretty fun.
You mentioned being an 8 seed, taking some of the pressure off. How rewarding was it to see the girls win it with all the smiles that you talked about?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a tough year. We've gutted it out, and these girls have been resilient. They've got up after they've been hit down over and over again. And tonight wasn't really how we exactly wanted to play. Kansas is a fantastic team, and they cause a lot of chaos. And we got some lucky breaks in the second half, but that's soccer. We'll take it.
Last one. I know you've coached a lot of good players. Ellie Walbruch, have you seen a player just take over a postseason like this before?
I've coached a lot of good players. And she's got more in her to go in the NCAA.
Congratulated, Coach.
Thank you.
Again, for a 4th straight year, to some of the Big 12, it's the lower seed that wins the final, but this time the lower seed was the lowest seed, the 8th seed. It's Big 12 history for BYU as they add another trophy in the showcase. We already knew they were NCAA tournament bound, but by knocking off Kansas, number 5 in RPI, that's going to be another shot to the resume. And it improves seeding for BYU going forward.
And lucky for Coach Rockwood, so many of these players set to return next season. Incredible work there from an incredible squad. Such a well-deserved win also. I think they got the onslaught of pressure in a season, coming in as a quote-unquote dark horse, so to speak, has done so much work here for them.
They were the favorites that first year in the Big 12, only to fall to Texas in the final a couple years ago. The Cougars have done more than their fair share of winning. Jen Rockwood, again, can rattle off so many who have performed over the years to help capture those trophies back on campus. But what a special run for this group, and the run is not over. They, just like the Jayhawks, and probably along with a total of 8 Big 12 teams, will hear their names called on Monday by the committee. But in the 21st minute, from distance, Walbruch was asking for the ball and did not disappoint, able to deliver. So many great stories, including 0-0, Chelsea Peterson in goal, tested in that final minute. But it was the goal in the 21st minute from Ellie Walbruch, her 5th of the week, that provides to be the championship winner. She's with Michelle.
Ellie, Big 12 champ. How does that sound?
Oh my gosh, so amazing. Just so proud of this group. We've worked super hard this season. We haven't had the start we wanted, but getting this Big 12 champs means so much, and it's a perfect time we're peaking, so just really excited for NCAA tournament.
To think about where you were this time a year ago, how much more rewarding does it make it?
So much. I've been through a lot, and obviously tearing my ACL was very hard, but I trusted in God's plan and just trusted in Him, and here I am, and I'm just really proud of myself and proud of my support group that I had.
One of those support members, your dad, described this 7-game stretch for you as a stretch where he's seen you get your swag back. You're a goal-scoring machine. What's been working for you right now?
My dad is my biggest supporter. Same with my mom. They've been through by my side the whole journey, and just to be out here practicing for him and winning this for him and my parents as well is just so big for me.
All right, we'll let you celebrate with your team. Congratulations.
I appreciate it.
She's got a big cheerleader on the men's team as well. Her brother Kyle has been on the Cougars men's squad. Again, 2025, what a run it was for BYU as the 8th seed. Team that came in with the understandable expectations, preseason picked 3rd in this conference. They do lift the trophy despite coming in as the 8th seed, but boy, it was an incredible year for the Big 12, and the cream of the crop this week, the Cougars of BYU.
And again, so much talent planning to return there for BYU. You look at players like Ellie Walbruch, you already know that she's going to be a name to be said in the NWSL or WSL, wherever she wants to go. I think she's that caliber of talent that can absolutely do that. But this entire squad, expect to see a lot of these names playing when the time comes in the pro level leagues, but not too soon. They still have a couple years, most of them, to go before their college days are done.
All right, we're going to take one final break. Step aside. When we come back, it is the awards ceremony as the Cougars of BYU, for the first time, will be lifting some Big 12 hardware. Oh, we enter this week with 8 credible Big 12 champions. When it's all said and done, it played out the way of the Cougars of BYU. Let's listen in to public address voice Eric Ramirez for the award ceremony.
First and foremost, on behalf of the Big 12, we'd like to thank all of you for your support of the 2025 Big 12 Soccer Tournament Conference presented by Allstate. And now, it's time to hand out some hardware. Joined by Big 12 Conference Associate Director of Competition, Eric Newman, we're here to present the 2025 Big 12 Soccer Tournament presented by Allstate Offensive and Defensive Most Outstanding Players. Your 2025 Most Outstanding Offensive Player, Ellie Walbruch, BYU forward. A goal in every game of this tournament. What do you attribute that to?
I just give all support. I couldn't have done it without this team putting me in the positions I am, and credit to my coaches for always believing in me. So this is a group trophy, and I love this team, and I can't wait for NCAA. Let's go!
Congratulations on an amazing tournament so far. Now for our 2025 Defensive Most Outstanding Player, none other than Chelsea Peterson, goalkeeper. Chelsea. Sorry. How do you describe, I'm sorry. How do you describe the last week of your life?
Pretty good. Yeah, it was a pretty good week. I don't know. This team balls. I mean, they do all the work. They just set me up, so.
You made your first career start with this team in this tournament. You lead them through.
It's good. We won.
Yeah, okay, what are your defensive most outstanding player? And I'll try again. All right, we're not done. I apologize, but now it's time for the big one. Your team trophy. On behalf of the Big 12, please join me in congratulating the BYU Cougars, your 2025 Big 12 Soccer Tournament champions.
we're not done yet.
Again, big thanks to everybody here in Waco at Baylor University and Fort Worth at TCU. What a great experience it was for these student athletes. Congratulations to the BYU Cougars. They lift that trophy. A former national champion, Ellie Walbruch, comes over from UCLA to BYU, has made an impact, still has more work to be done going into the NCAA tournament. She wants her newest teammates to experience what she did a couple years back in the College Cup. Of course, that would be a trip to Kansas City for this special group.
Yes, we'll talk about a core memory being made here tonight. This is one of those moments that no matter what happens from here, they're never going to forget it. Going in as 8, being the last one standing, and man, just an incredible, incredible game from top to bottom here for BYU.
Big thanks to our crew here in Waco, spearheaded by our producer Kyle Brunt and director and Abby Stokes. Great job by Michelle down there, juggling a couple of responsibilities with all the chats, both in-house at the stadium and here on the broadcast. BYU puts their 3 letters, their name across the final line. The punctuation on an incredible run for the 8